Are you curious about building a career in software testing but feeling overwhelmed about where to start? In this episode, I sat down with Rahul Parwal, a veteran software tester with over a decade of experience who shares his fascinating journey from being a teacher to being a respected voice into the testing community. We dive deep into what software testing really means in 2025, exploring it through the lens of a special investigator, uncovering risks, gathering evidences, and ensuring quality. Whether you are a complete beginner or a few years into your software testing career, we have discussed about the 5 essential skills every tester needs in 2025, including how to leverage AI tools effectively, a practical guide to building your testing portfolio that stands out to the employers, the truth about certifications, and what really matters in your testing career. And we have also talked about the power of testing communities and why they are a secret weapon for your growth. In addition to that, we have also discussed emerging trends that are reshaping the testing landscape, including AI impact and what it means for your career prospects. If you are ready to kickstart or level up your career in the testing industry, this episode can be a roadmap to your success. So let's dive in and don't forget to subscribe to the Tech Unfiltered with Manish. Hey everyone, welcome to Tech Unfiltered with Manish. Today we have Rahul Parwal with us. If you are someone who is watching from QA domain or someone who have worked into the testing, you probably know Rahul. But still, I want you Rahul to introduce yourself to our public who are watching you first time. So over to you, Rahul.
Hi everyone, I am Rahul Parwal. I am also a software tester just like you, and I work with IFM. I've spent a decade in the software testing industry, and I love to share my work, share my testing knowledge through conferences, meetups, communities. I've written ebooks, made a couple of courses on software testing, and I like to share my knowledge and whatever I know with the software testing community.
Yeah, and that's great, Rahul. And we have seen a lot of your work on LinkedIn, on your articles, and in keynote speaking, and we have inspired a lot from you. But Rahul, I want to go a bit back and wanted to know like how you started your career, how you choose testing in your career, and how you end up in software testing. Is it from your college? You are one of those accidental testers also.
Okay, so because you used the term career, in my career, I started actually as a teacher. I used to teach engineering kids on engineering mechanics, soft skills, and so on. And our
Mm-hmm.
college had a mentorship program.
Okay.
So final year people could opt to teach the junior people, and I had opted for that. I did that for 1 year. And by the end of my college, I got placed with Capgemini, but my joining came pretty late. I mean, almost 1 year late. So during that 1 year, I used to work as a technical editor for a engineering books company, and I used to do editing work and writing books and stuff. And that is also the area from where I actually learned about writing and how do you articulate your thoughts, how do you break down complex concepts. And I did all that work almost for an year, and then I got my first job in the tech space as a developer, and that was a .NET developer role. So I was trained into .NET development. I got my first project, which was also on the lines of .NET development. And when I was working as a .NET developer for this project, they had a requirement for testing. And they wanted somebody who could write scripts in C sharp, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a pretty niche skill. I mean, even today C sharp automation is a niche skill, and back then it was more niche. They were not able to find the right folks, and that time they brought me in, and in initial the agreement was that we I would work there for almost 5 to 6 months developing some automation and script, and it was not even a testing role. It was more of a developing framework, developing some utilities which the testers would be telling me to do, and
Right.
so on. And during that 6 months, I realized that testing is something fun. Testing is interesting, and that 6 months project extended to an year, and that's how I slowly transitioned from development to testing. Now,
Mm-hmm.
after my first job, an interesting thing that happened was that I used to apply for jobs for both .NET developer as well as like a .NET C sharp based automation tester. And I realized that the demand for the C sharp based automation tester is certainly very high. And then I switched to IFM with whom I still work today. And that's where I really learned the basic in and out of testing and what testing is all about. And I really got serious into testing after that.
No, no, so that's a quite different experience. You started as a teacher and then joining the IT industry, learning the C sharp first. Generally, people came doing the functional testing part and then they switched to automation part. And but you are someone like who started from the teacher doing that writing part and then learn some C sharp and then coming to the testing part. So that's a great journey. I want to go a bit deep into the software testing part. Like someone who is coaching us from their college days, or someone who is like quite a bit fresher nowadays. Can you explain the term software testing in the like simplest terms for someone who is completely new to this?
Interesting. There was a point in time in my life when I used to wonder what software testing is and why do you even need software testing.
Right.
Most people have some notions about software testing. If somebody is from engineering background, they would have studied about unit testing or integration testing at a very theoretical level. But if I want to give you some kind of example to help you understand what software testing is, I would give you an example of MI6, James Bond, or a
Yes.
special detective or raw agent
Right.
who is given an assignment, who is given some situation, and then the person has to figure out the challenges, figure out the risks in the challenges, find the right tools, right people to help them navigate through the path, find valuable information, and then convey that information in a way so that the stakeholders or the government can make some decisions. And you actually help create good state of the things wherever you're working. So it's like a very investigative process. You have to learn about the things. At the same time, you have to present the things. You have to run experiments. You have to explore. You have to investigate. And it's a very interesting kind of a job. And to do all of this, you end up creating some tests. You use tools. You write automation. But then you also talk to people. You gather information and you use that information to create good experiments and create good results. And at a high level, it's a very interesting job where it's highly creative, it's highly technical, and it's also highly social because you have to present all of that to people. So it's not just about code, it's not just about running some test, but it's a mix of all of these things.
Yeah, I think like that's a quite impressive example. So I have not heard this kind of example, like comparing a tester with someone who is working on to secret agencies. So that's a kind of art you have mastered to explain the things in very simple terms, or you can say very relatable terms. And I highly like I found it like more explanatory to someone who is very new to this concept. This is a great example. So now, can you share you can say, related to something which is world work into IT industry or corporate industry, and helps to explain the people why software testing is so crucial, why it is an important role in our industry?
Okay. So, I want to explain this. I want to first explain testing and then we will go to the software testing part.
Right.
So, fundamentally, science is about testing. So, the rigor of science or engineering is testing.
Mhm.
Now, to give a very small example, a small packet of, for example, say chips that you eat, before the company produces it out, somebody has to test it. That
Right.
is it according to the specifications or the compositions that they define? Is it edible? Can it create a problem? And you have to run a lot of experiments to figure that out. So without doing those experiments or without doing that part of testing, you cannot really reliably put things out. And that is also one of the difference between science and pseudoscience. The the reality with science is that anything that is scientific can be tested. Science backs on testing. So even as a student, when you were learning maybe physics, chemistry, maths, you were running a lot of experiments. And such experiments validate science. So, I mean, if you want to create anything which is scientific, which is reliable, which can give consistent result, which doesn't harm people.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when I talk from the perspective of science, I mean, you cannot just say that it will not harm people or it will not create issues. You have to give scientific evidence. For example, in medical science, I mean, take an example of advanced X-ray machines or MRI machines. I mean, to really use such machines reliably, you have to test both the hardware as well as the software of such machines.
Right.
And if somebody has not tested these machines, there can be consequences, there can be issues that can come out in reality. I mean, when the
Mm-hmm.
things are put in production, and then that could lead to lawsuits, issues, and so on. And if you see around yourself, I mean, any product, for example, I use this phone. I mean, this phone had to go through a rigorous testing. I mean, now that was a more of a physical testing, and then even the software of this phone has to go through a testing so that we know that this is reliable, this is secure, this is safe, this is usable.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the thing for which the customer pays you money. I mean, the customer doesn't pay you money just to create something, but they pay you for an actual value. And I mean, to really test that is there an actual value, you need to do testing. And I mean, especially for software products, you need to do software testing. So in principle, any creation, I mean, any reliable creation, any creation that you want to sell, I mean, you have to really test it. Now, I mean, if it's a software product, you have to software test it.
Right.
If it's a hardware product, there are different kind of testing mechanisms for that too.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to tell you something interesting, a fact that I recently learned, that any product that gives a warranty, for example, a washing machine which gives a warranty that it will run 5 years. I mean, they actually test it out using simulation of the temperature and pressure that can this
Mm-hmm.
washing machine sustain almost 10 years. And if it can sustain 10 years, then they give a warranty of 5 years. And I mean, that's the science behind it. So I mean,
Right.
essentially, to create anything out there in production, I mean, you need to test. So
Mm-hmm.
testing is fundamental to life, technology, growth, and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a great example, like the warranty or guarantee things we see a lot in electronics part or something which is mechanical, and probably the normal people, they don't have any idea like how the people will discover that part, like how much time it will take, and what is the period for that they can claim the warranty, and how it is decided. It goes through the simulations because they can't test it for 5 years and then give it to you. It will make like their product late. So that's a great analogy how they will do it through simulation and through rigorous testing. And people like us QA engineers, they test it and they try to figure out what will be the time period that it will sustain and how it can relate with those guarantee periods and warranty periods. That's great, like example. Again, now I want to talk about software testing as a career path. So as we see, there are a lot of specialization when we talk about the development field. There are like backend engineers, there are front end developers, or now we have full stack developers also. So what are like different specializations path we can do in testing today?
So I mean, by the nature of the job, I mean, and how, I mean, the things are progressing and how industry is
Mm-hmm.
progressing. I mean, usually testers are treated, or I mean, are expected to be generalist. I mean, that somebody who knows it all, somebody who knows how to explore, somebody who knows how to
Right.
automate, somebody who knows the front end, back end, and stuff. And this journey of specialization also starts from like gathering all of these general aspects of testing. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody want to progress their career in testing, I mean, the first thing is to understand these different aspects or areas of testing. For example, how do you test a front end, which is a very popular thing. A lot of testers in the industry today have been testing front end systems like web applications, mobile applications, in the past desktop applications, because of the scale at which these applications are produced.
Mm-hmm.
Now with this microservice based architecture, I mean, there are special testing teams that are there for the backend who test the API, services, integration. I work for testing an IoT product, and I
Mm-hmm.
test the SDK of that IoT product, which involves unit testing and integration testing and component testing and so on. And I mean, if you can do all of that, I mean, there are terms that are there like omega tester or full stack tester or I mean, T-shaped tester and so on.
Right.
And different terms to denote these different differentiation and compositions. But in the end, I mean, it talks about, I mean, your ability and skill to handle and tackle challenges all throughout the spectrum. Once you do that, I mean, so typically I've seen, and in the testers that I've mentored, I've seen for a couple of years, 2 to 3 years, they undergo these trainings on the basic functional aspects, the exploratory testing. How do you write automation, scripting, creating tools, using tools, evaluating tools, preparing reports, and all those basic test strategy, test planning. So all these basic general concepts which are applicable no matter what you do. And once you reach that level, there are certainly specialized areas, and specialized areas just like in development. For example, there are specialist role for accessibility testers. There are specialist role for usability testers. There are specialist roles for testers who do security testing or performance testing, and all of these roles open up.
Right.
In some context, I mean, I've even seen people directly learning performance testing concepts without having a base understanding of testing itself. But I think the general understanding of testing is very helpful and essential to really help you elevate your testing craftsmanship, because otherwise you're just stuck with those concepts, but you don't have that base ready for you. And
Right.
if you are interested in a specialization, I mean, one thing that I suggest people is to always look for opportunities within your company, because if you want to become a specialist, you have to practice the craft, and to practice the craft you have to find an opportunity where you can practice the craft, and usually you will get such opportunities within your company itself. Because I mean, you cannot think that till today I am a functional tester and tomorrow I'll apply for a job as a security tester. So probably if you are interested to go for any specialization, try to find an opportunity in your project, in your company, maybe collaborate with other security testers or other specialized area testers, and then pick those paths. And once you pick those paths, I mean, then I mean, slowly you can take your step by step upgrade onto those levels.
Yeah, definitely. Like doing something within your organization is kind of a blessing, because you have those hands-on things. You can experiment on those stuff. You have a product where you can play with it, rather than doing those stuff on those demo websites, or building a small projects on your own. They will give you a sense of you can say achievement, or sense of like realizing how it will work. But comparing it with a real world product, what is like going into the market, used by million of users, you can't compare those small projects with
Yeah.
that. And definitely, like doing something in your organization, that's why I suggest people to talk to their leads, talk to their manager whenever they want to grow. Just ask them like, what are the areas currently we are lacking, or currently where you have more requirement, and I can try to learn those stuff, and I can help you in that term.
Absolutely.
That's how like you grow in within your company. You don't need to switch every time to learn new skills.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes there are ready opportunities available in the company, and I mean, as somebody now, I work as a senior. I expect people to reach out to me and ask for opportunities. And I mean, there are
Yeah.
things that are there, and I can directly give it to them. That you can work on this parallel project and so on. So I mean, I think every company is looking for that. Every manager wants somebody who can really level up and check out all of these aspects. Yeah.
Exactly. But I've seen like people hesitate so much. They're in a fear, if they can't deliver, their performance will go down. But they don't understand that if they will deliver that part, they will gain trust of the manager or lead. Also, they will gain a significant amount of knowledge, which will take a lot of time if they will do like on their own, or through courses or something like that.
Yeah.
Because working on that real project is really have a lot of value.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, right. So now we have talked about like two things. One is like generalist approach, and one is the specialist part. Suppose someone is starting their career now, and should he or she will go with that generalist approach, try to find out like what are the major fundamentals of the testing, what are the different paths he or she can go, or should they start with specialization in something like performance testing or security testing from the start of the career? So what would you suggest, like being a generalist first, then specialist, or just starting from that specialization?
I would suggest, go for a generalist. I mean, start with a generalist so
Mhm.
that you also get to know what are the various possibilities.
Yeah.
I mean, as a fresher, one constant bottleneck which I see is that freshers have some idea, probably because they have listened from somebody that this specific thing is really good and this pays really well, and then they just want to do that.
Mhm.
And this blocks a lot of opportunities. I mean, sometimes not restricting yourself could be the best strategy to really know, I mean, what is out there in the market. I
Mhm.
mean, somebody would say that Java plus Selenium is the best, but it's more of a confirmation bias that they have used it and I mean they find it amazing. I was a C sharp automation tester and I mean I found good opportunities with that. And
Mhm.
somebody might be earning a lot with security testing. And to be honest, I mean, with any specialization in testing, I mean, if you can really add value above the level of the industry and your peers, I mean, you will get good money and you can make good money.
Mhm.
But to really understand what you want to do, you should first go out and explore the different areas, talk to people, and I mean, get a general idea of testing, build a base of testing because this will even help you level up. And
Right.
even if when you go up, I mean, you will have to talk to other testers, and if you don't have the foundations ready or base understanding of testing, I mean, it will be difficult for you to really articulate and discuss and collaborate with them. So, generalist to start with is my suggestion.
Yeah. So absolutely, because I have seen people who are, you can say, they tends towards the automation first. They have a kind of like approach where they think that learning automation can help them secure highest package and have more demand, and that's why they tend to ignore the testing part. What are the fundamentals of testing? What are the different aspects of testing? Apart from automation, there is a lot of things into the testing, and they don't know about that, and they don't have any idea about of that also. If we take an example, this is something like which we do in our engineering also. And generally in our engineering, in first year we read all the subjects related to mechanical engineering, related to civil engineering, and then after 1 year there is like some specialized subjects which are related to our stream. So similar fashion, like in career also, we need to learn those stuff, like what are different areas into testing. Then we can find out what are our interests, which fascinate
Yeah.
ourselves, is like whether we are more inclined towards the security part or accessibility part. Then we can do that specialization and find a way in that like T shape, what you have
Yeah.
mentioned.
And I think you raised a very interesting point with this. I mean, college thing. I mean, and
Hmm.
there is a reason why the colleges do that.
Right.
So that I mean, everybody builds those fundamental skills. And I mean, I think throughout the world, anywhere you go, I mean, this is how colleges, engineering colleges start.
Mhm.
Uh, that's really true.
Yeah. And
Another aspect that I see is that to when you like really learn the basic aspects of the things, sometimes the possibilities to really find the right specialization areas also
Mhm.
increase. So that's important.
Exactly, and same for that example of our like college time. We have choose like I choose the computer science from the first year. Then again we need to learn about mechanical and all those stuff, because after an year we have a chance if we want to switch it over. If we want to go to mechanical, if we want to electronics, we can switch it after first year also. That's same with the you can say testing. If someone is like starting with something and they found other part more interesting, or you can say more understanding or more relatable to their stuff, they can switch it over and learn those skills and go in that direction.
Another thing that you brought about this automation part, that everybody wants to
Hmm.
do automation. This is very much similar or analogous to like everybody wants to just eat proteins and not have a balanced diet.
Exactly.
But to really like scale, I mean, you need a balanced diet. And this point with automation and coding, I mean, this had like gone to a different point where I mean, couple of years back, and I think even today there were like institutes opened that claimed that we want to teach coding to somebody who is in the first class, and then or in the fifth class, and then there was the debate started that, is it really useful to teach them this coding and programming at this stage where they should probably be learning about general concepts and creativity and different aspects? Sometimes overpressing some things could have long term disastrous effects.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now let's talk about someone who is starting their career in 2025. So, what do you suggest, like how they can gain those essential skills for software testing or soft skills or whatever is essentials for someone who is starting their career in 2025? First, we can list down some of those skills which are essentials for a software tester, and then what are the resources from there they can acquire those skills.
So essential skills, because you said 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll tell the most, one of the most important skill at the end. So I'll start the reverse list. So
Yeah.
first thing is, learn storytelling, which is conveying your thoughts, ideas, and explaining them, presenting your ideas, articulating your thoughts, findings, and everything through a
Mm-hmm.
storytelling, compelling manner. Second thing that I think is very important is clean coding. So if somebody is starting in 2025, I believe they know test, they know basic form of coding or automation and
Mm-hmm.
so on. But if you want to really scale up, build products which are sustainable and write code that is not messy and unmaintainable, you learn clean coding. Third thing is learn the art of exploration and how to do systematic exploration, which means how do you break down things into parts, how do you take notes, how do you make report the notes, how do you explore the aspects, how do you capture your exploratory findings, and so on and so forth. Pair test with others. So that's the third important aspect. Then the fourth is uh, utility building. Building your own utilities, or writing your code or scripts to build some utilities and write some scripts and so on, because with tool, you or if you know how to build scripts or build tools, you can really create things that you want and that can directly help you for your need and context. And the last and the most important is learning how to leverage AI tools. AI is now there for last 2 years, but I still see a lot of people not really understanding how to leverage AI tools for the right job. Either like
Right.
sometimes I see people using AI for the wrong tasks, or not using it right, or overdoing AI. So even for this buzz to be right that AI will be an amazing assistant for testers, I think testers have to also start using the AI tools smartly and for the right context. For the right kind of tasks with the right kind of prompts. So prompt
Mhm.
engineering AI, it's important because time is not going to run backward. We are only going to get smarter tools, smarter platforms, and your ability to interact with these systems will also help you a lot, and it will also give you an added edge over others.
Right, absolutely. Let me summarize it for our viewers. So
Yeah.
first is storytelling. So obviously that's the super important part. It's kind of like part of communication, how you send your thoughts to others. Second is clean coding. If someone is looking into automation and they just keep checking those tools, how to write script on Selenium, how to write it, you can say Playwright. Far beyond clean coding, it's something wherever you will use your tools, wherever you do the automation, it will help you. You can say optimize your code or to optimize your automation part. Third party, we have talked about the exploration part, how we can explore the things, how we can like think like a user, and how we can do that critical analysis into the parts. Then utility building. This is something like which resonates with me a lot. Building those utilities. What I do personally is like put it in onto the GitHub or put it into somewhere onto the repo so that I can reuse it again and again. Because when you join some organization, when you start a new projects, every person will ask you, can you build something or build a framework or anything from the scratch? And this is something we don't have to build it again and again because it's already built. If you
Yeah.
have built it once, you can at least 60-70% of the part you can reuse it. And the last part, AI tools. AI is still like which I found people are at either they are using it very less, either they are overdoing it. They're
Overdo.
not finding the way perfectly how to smartly use it. This is something like which personally I am finding either someone who is like very less using the AI. If someone is using it, they are using it everywhere. They don't thinking like whether AI will be helping them here or AI will solve their part. They are just trying to put AI to every solution. So
And
this,
while
this
you
is
were
like my
summarizing it, I
personal finding.
realized while you were summarizing these skills, realized one fact that all of these skills, I mean, no matter what you do, I mean, these are transferable skills.
Right.
So, I mean, once you learn them, you can take them to your next job, fourth job, or even, I mean, if you pivot to a specialist role, these will help you. I mean,
Exactly. Okay, so perfect. Now, can you name some tools or applications which will help someone who is starting their career, or even if they are like in 4 5 years of experience, or what are the tools or applications you are using in your current setup also, which helps you a lot in your day to day life while working on your job?
okay. That I use a lot for my note taking and capturing ideas, visualizing ideas, presenting ideas is Xmind. I use Xmind
Mm-hmm.
for mind mapping. I found this tool pretty late in my career. I mean, almost after spending 4 or 5 years. But I think I mean people who use such tools to manage their data, I mean they will have an edge over others because it's easy to visualize, explain, and such things tools help.
Mm-hmm.
Second is Copilot. I've been using Copilot a lot.
Okay.
Powerful AI tool prompt, and I mean you could use it for your needs and stuff. Third is Magical. So Get Magical is an extension, browser extension that helps you automate repetitive stuff. So even small things like copy pasting a prompt, you can
Mm-hmm.
save it in Get Magical, and then you can assign a shortcut to that. And when you press that shortcut, it automatically gets filled in the input window of Copilot or ChatGPT and so on. And it
Okay.
offers a lot of possibilities of micro automations that really save you a lot of time. In terms of saving time, another thing that I want to tell everybody is learn shortcuts. I mean, learn IDE shortcuts, learn your Windows OS shortcut or Mac OS shortcuts.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have come into this industry, for example, say 2025, you are going to work here for next 25 years, 30 years, and you are going to use these systems daily. I mean, and why not learn the shortcuts so that you can use them really fast? I mean, even
Mm-hmm.
for searching well on Google, there are courses that I've done that have really helped me elevate my searching and overall research and things how I consume from Google. So use such tools. If you are into web testing, one highly underrated tool is dev tools.
Yeah.
The browser dev tools super powerful. I mean, it's I think Chrome has done an amazing job, and even Edge.
Mm-hmm.
You could even run scripts. You could like do a lot of things in the console. So learn about that. I did an entire course on this Chrome dev tools from the Ministry of Testing, and after that I realized that what a amazing power I had always ignored. And I mean, the dev tools is available in any browser. I mean, even the browser updates, the dev tool is there. You can use that skill. If you are into web testing, I would recommend learning an open source tool like Selenium or APM, depending on your context. And if you are starting in a team or a project, then maybe talk to your company. I mean, what are the tools that they are using?
Mm-hmm.
And try to align your skills to that, because then you can contribute directly there. One more thing, which is not a tool, but it's uh, it's a resource which helps me day in and day out, is testing communities.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for people, I mean, if you are not aware of what testing communities is, testing communities are organized groups where lot of software testers ranging from fresher experience to really senior folks like 20 years, 30 years experience folks are there. You can ask questions, you can answer questions, you can raise your issues, you can ask about any specific problem that you are facing at work, and the wonderful part is you get your responses there. I mean, and it's most testing communities are for free. There are a lot of articles, references, resources, meetups, conferences
Mm-hmm.
that these communities do produce, share. Help is available. Just ask for help. I think asking for help could be an interesting skill to develop, I think. And one differentiation that it creates is that if for example I am somebody who's part of communities, and
Mm-hmm.
Manish is my colleague in my same team and he's not part of communities, then if we both get a single problem to work on, I can ask that problem to 1,000 other testers.
Right.
Now I am not just one tester, an interface to 1,000 testers, and I can bring back that collective knowledge to solve my problems, and those will certainly be better than Manish in most cases, because
Mm-hmm.
I mean I have insights from experienced folks who have probably tackled such situation before and using such insights. And I mean, if you are in part of communities, I think that really helps you, that helps you to a lot of degree. Even following folks like Manish and other folks, I mean, is possible through communities. I mean, you find interesting folks. I mean, I met Manish through a community, Ministry of
Mm-hmm.
Testing. I mean, then I started following him, and then I started following his YouTube channel. And that's how, I mean, I increased my circle of knowledge and learning about tooling and things. So, yeah, follow
So,
community.
absolutely, communities helps us a lot. Initially, I'm also like more relied towards that Stack Overflow, or you can say Google searching. But when you are doing something on your own, you have a like very small aspect of that problem. You can't imagine like what can goes wrong and what are the like different aspects of that problem. That can be, you can say someone who is very much experienced can easily tell you like these are the things you might miss, or these are the things where you are still not thinking about that. So that's where experienced people, those communities, those multi-directional thoughts can help you and get into the things in much faster way rather than going here and there.
And another thing that you mentioned, that a lot of people have fear to talk to their managers or lead within their company. In communities, you don't have that fear.
Right, right.
You can ask without fear. You don't have a fear of judgment or somebody will like reduce your annual rating or salary or something. I mean, so it's a free space.
Exactly. That's something. So when I met Ashutosh, you can say co-founder of Test Tribe, he told me like they want to create a safe space for the testers so that anybody can come and rant about their companies, tell about their bosses, discuss about the things which they don't like, which they can't discuss directly in their companies, and try to find out the solutions, because there are members who have already faced those challenges and have overcome that. So that's how like communities helped you a lot. Okay, so coming back to our like discussion onto the tools, magical is something like which I have learned today, and I have heard like first time from you, and I will definitely explore about it. uh, One tool like which I have recently start using and it helped me helped me a lot is Notebook LLM from Google. So this is a like powerful tool who want to do some research or something. So initially we have to go through all those PDFs, all those articles and things, and we need to do these things on our own. Now what I do is like if I want to do research on some tool or some topic, I just collect the articles, probably like first 20 articles, pass it to the Notebook LLM and ask my questions to it. And it makes the things a bit easier and much faster. And, and what it helps is also like eliminating those fake information which we can get if we are asking it directly from the chat GPT or something, because they can be delusional. But if you are passing the information to a LLM and getting it from there, so then it will not hallucinate and you will get the real answer. So this is something like what I have found. And
Interesting.
okay, so like let's move to one more part, something related to career also. So certifications. So people have a lot of talk about the certifications, whether they want to do it or whether they don't want to do it. Also, some people thought of certifications are not any use case in their career because it's too costly. When your organization is giving it to you, then it's okay, but you will not do on your own. What are your take about the certifications, or if you want to quote some certifications which are essentials for someone starting in software testing?
I want to share a history about certifications. I mean, certifications came in a time where there was a bulk need for software testers. We were getting people from other domains,
Mm-hmm.
chemistry, and biology domain, and we wanted to like train them on testing, and like we wanted to find a way to know if the person knows testing or not. I mean, and then certification were a good gateway, entryway that, yeah, I mean, this body is certified that this guy or person knows terminology of testing, basic aspect of testing, and you can hire them and you ask them to test your products. Now, from that time, which was in the 90s or 80s, I mean, till today, like in 2025, the technology and everything has really evolved a lot. Today, if you want to showcase that you have skills in testing, there are 1,000 other ways to do it. One potential way could be to really test a product, create a report, put it out on a website. Now, today, even creating website is there for free. I mean, there are ways you can post your material for free. You could even create a GitHub repository where you can upload your test reports or findings. You could start a blog. I have created testing reports on applications and then hosted them or shared them with the founders that, yeah, this is my finding when I tried your product. And that is an interesting way to showcase that you know testing. And I think in most cases, I mean, certifications really help you to do that you understand the basics and the foundations, and you can even do that through your work, and that also helps you differentiate yourself from other folks. The second aspect is that certifications don't really test the practical knowledge of a tester. So I mean, when I am hiring a tester, even if the tester has a certification, I always try to check if the person also has practical knowledge and insights on the subject. And third thing is, if in your context you need to do some certification for a domain. For example, I know that in insurance domain, I mean, they have to do some INS kind of certification. Or in industrial domain, there are some specific certifications. Then, I mean, you have to do them so that you get better at the knowledge. And I mean, that's a way to establish the basic knowledge in that domain. Or maybe, I mean, even doing certification for a programming language or a tool, I mean, company, for example, Amazon Cloud or Java or C Sharp, I mean, doing certification them is also good because somebody has created these things. And the person, maybe Microsoft or Oracle, can really certify you that you know this basic degree of whatever foundations of this programming. But testing is more of an open craft. I mean, nobody has created testing. I mean, so nobody can actually certify you in testing. Because testing is itself growing with every day, every possible hour. My take is, I mean, work on your portfolio. I mean, that's more easier, cheaper, and credible way to build your authentic portfolio.
Yeah, so I also have like similar kind of thoughts. If you're treating a certification something like a kind of entry pass to your career, I won't say like it will be workout. Rather than having a portfolio or having a like small projects built by you on your own, it will gonna showcase like you know the real stuff. You have worked on something, and this is a bit similar to the what industry is working on. And I will prefer someone who have that kind of like portfolio. But one fine use case, what I find into the certification and courses, the structure way of learning. If you are someone who is starting their career, rather doing that certification for that entry pass, get the structure what that certification or that course want to teach you. Get that structure, because and when you are starting on something, you don't know where on which path you want to go. You don't know that progression, that step-by-step guide to achieving that 0 to 100 mark. But those courses or certifications, that the content, the you can say initial index of that first phase can guide you. That's how like topic by topic you can gauge the knowledge and you can move ahead into acquiring those skills and those parts.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Okay, so now let's move to more practical advices, because both of us have now a lot of experience into the testing, and let's discuss something related to resources, because something which I have faced initially, we don't have that much of resources, or you can say that much of community from where we can find that resources, how and where we have to go into the testing path. We have found it very late. So I'm not sure about you, but at least after like 2-3 years of my career, I find out what is testing about, what I need to learn on. Even after 4-5 years, when I switched my first job, then I try to know about what are the different aspects of the testing I need to learn, what is performance part, how we can integrate different things, what is system design and all those stuff. But suppose someone is starting nowadays, so what are the resources you will recommend them? One is definitely we have discussed is community part, but what are other resources you want to recommend someone who is starting their journey today?
मतलब possibilities come with communities, which we have talked about. The second interesting area which most people ignore is GitHub.
Mhm.
I mean, so when I want to find about something, I mean, I usually search on GitHub. For example, you said, I mean, the frameworks. I mean, you don't have to really recreate frameworks, because there are
Right.
frameworks probably that you have uploaded on your GitHub, but there are a lot of similar framework, or like different kind of framework for different structure that are available on GitHub, utilities that are
Mhm.
available on GitHub. Now, for knowledge on testing, one resource which I used, and I also found that pretty late, is the BBST Foundation's open course material. So, I mean, by Dr. Kem Kainer, this material was created on the grant by US government to create such a structured material on software testing, and those videos and materials are available. So, if you
Mhm.
search for BBST Foundations open course material, you will get foundations material on testing, which is pretty much equivalent to what these certification courses teach you. And I mean, you can learn it from there for free. And there are BBST courses on test design, bug advocacy, exploratory testing, all available out there for free. Then there are some specific YouTube channels for automation that you can
Mhm.
follow. So I mean, based on your technology, and I mean, especially for Indian audience, I think one of the Indian tech YouTubers in the testing space are, I think, the most popular out there in the whole world. I mean, in the terms of
Yeah.
following and the quality of content and the range.
Mhm.
Check that out. I mean, YouTube is an interesting possibility. And I mean, whenever you are looking to opt for a paid course, I would say, I mean, first check, I mean, if the material is out there on YouTube directly, because in most cases it will be there. The next good resource that I would recommend is Satisfies by James Bug
Mhm.
and Develop Sense. These are two blogs that have amazing information on testing craft, testing terminology, and different aspects of testing. And I have also curated 99 resources to help software testers. So we can do is we will link this in the description of this.
Mhm.
So I
Sure.
mean, everybody can find 99 resources and make use of them. So I mean, there you will find useful resources for AI, automation, testing, free tools, books, performance, security, and stuff. So yeah, that's a good way.
Right. So, when you talked about courses, so there is one advice from myself also. So, when someone asks me like what kind of course should I get, or I just ask him if it is something like less than $10 and you think like you will get the value, you can
Go
enroll
for
to
it.
that because it's not that much of like high value or something you will lose out. But if it is something which is very costly, and try to find out the what is the content of that course and search onto the YouTube, because the content which is present into the course, most probably you will find it very easily. The main motive of that getting that course is the structured way of that content. This is something what I feel. So I always advise them either try to get it from Udemy or something, because Udemy is like pretty cheap in terms of like courses and all those stuff, and otherwise just get the content, get whatever is covered inside that course and try to find it out on YouTube. You
Yeah,
will
yeah.
easily find. Okay, so now like we have also talked about that portfolio stuff, like someone who can try to, you can say, test something onto the real software and create a, you can say, test plan out of it, create a test report and a bug report, something, whatever, like they're finding it. Uh, so how do you suggest, like, how can someone who is starting their career or who want to like switch jobs, how can they prepare a portfolio for them to showcase like what are their skills into the software testing, and that can be helpful for them to preserve their knowledge also and to preserve what they know in terms of like achievement or in terms of skills they have. So what are the possible ways to build that kind of portfolio?
Okay, so I'll talk about 2 to 3 paths of how to
Hmm.
do that or how to start that. First step is, I mean, learn the basics of testing and coding and stuff like that, tools. Once you learn that, I mean, pick any tool or any application that you probably use in your day-to-day life or some new tool or application that your friend has given to you. Pick
Mhm.
that, use it from start to end. Make a note of what could be improved, make a note of what is not working, make a note of any area which feels confusing to you, make a note of anything that you feel reduces the value, and I mean you did not expected that from that app. Prepare a report and email it or reach out to the founders. Now today, I mean, you can really reach out to the founders on social media, or you can email them and send it to them. And I mean, either, I mean, looking at that work, they would want to hire you or want more work from you, or I mean, you could always publish that information on your website or on your GitHub account, because it's you're not lying. I mean, it's information available there
Exactly.
in public. And I mean, in the fair rules of journalism, I mean, you can really write about that. So that
Mhm.
is one aspect. If, for example, you are more inclined towards automation, I mean, look for a micro problem, look for a micro thing that a daily workflow or something that you do regularly. For example, for me, I open specific kind of tabs
Mhm.
every day in the morning, and when I do work, I open specific kind of tabs. So when I am in a entertainment mode, I open different tabs. Can you create an extension that opens that and close that?
Mhm.
I mean, to do micro automations, find such micro opportunities for automation. You can host them on Chrome browser, or you can put them on a repository. Maybe if you're learning Selenium or
Mhm.
any tool from Udemy, build that practically,
Right.
parallelly for your context, for your use case. Post it out on GitHub. I mean, sometimes just having a profile also helps you a lot. I mean,
Mhm.
and just put out your ideas there. The third is challenges. I mean, there are a lot of time testing challenges happen. For example, there is a community Shift Sync, and they do
Mhm.
monthly challenges. So participate there, and as part of their challenge, you have to create something. Either it's a video or a report or something. Put it out there. I mean, and once you participate and reply to the challenge, you also have that artifact ready for you as a portfolio item, that this is what I created. I mean, and if you see, I mean, it's very much similar to how designers do it or how
Mhm.
photographers do it. I mean,
Right.
they pick out general things, they start working on it, they show it to probable clients, and that's how they attract more things.
Yeah, this is what I see. Something similar onto sometimes onto the YouTube related to development field. What they do is like to sell their skills. They pick a website which is in very old manner or not so good looking. They build it on their own, put 2 3 days of effort, then ship it to the like founder or someone
Yeah,
who
yeah,
is the owner of that. Look, I have created this website for you. If you like it, then we can talk further, like what will be the prices and what is the like yearly maintenance of it.
yeah,
And it surely increase that you have already worked on that stuff.
yeah, yeah,
See, and the founder find it like, yeah, so this person already have worked on my product, have some knowledge of it. If they are already hiring someone in QA field or into the development, there will be higher chances they will prefer you.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, when you show portfolio or such things, right?
Hmm.
You are actually talking in terms of
Right.
rather than in terms of skills, because I mean skills after a point, if you cannot translate the skills into value, it's of no use.
Exactly.
I mean, suppose I have 10 certifications, so what?
Hmm.
I mean, can I test better? Because that is the real value. And when you talk in terms of value, I think you have better chance of like sitting on the negotiation table or discussion table or any table.
Right, exactly. One more thing, what people can do is documenting their journey of learning those stuff. It can be in form of like articles. It can be in form of just simple notes, what we used to make in our college days,
Yeah,
so that it can help others also, whatever the challenges you have faced, and it will notify the people that you have worked on it.
yeah,
Because when you will be documenting that journey, people will find out that this person is someone who is doing some similar stuff on gaining those skills. So it will help you to discover more opportunities or be more discoverable to others also.
yeah. And sometimes, I mean, it just means, I mean, maybe updating your description of your current role,
Right.
adding things there. I mean, when I open LinkedIn profiles, most of the times I see, I mean, descriptions are empty. That in this
Exactly.
role, what are they doing? So I mean, even your LinkedIn profile is a form of your portfolio, or a living representation of what your career is. So
Absolutely.
update details there.
Yeah, so the LinkedIn is something like which need to be updated. So I have read about a research from Amazon. So they told in their organization, recruiters are spending 60% more time onto the LinkedIn profile of a person rather than the resume nowadays. So LinkedIn is surely a piece of portfolio for yourself. So that need to be
Yeah,
updated and well optimized.
yeah.
Okay, so I think like we have talked a lot about like testing, what are those skills, how we can build a portfolio and how we can do those specialization. Now it's time for a rapid fire round, and slowly we are pushing ourselves to the end of this podcast. Okay, so the first question is most valuable soft skill for a tester.
Communication.
Okay. Yeah, so this is something like which we have already talked about, that storytelling part, and that needs to be there. Okay, the second one is currently we are seeing a lot of memes on LinkedIn also. So, what's your favorite meme related to testing or related to overall engineering? We can say.
I think one meme that got really popular is that after the AI tools come in, there is that meme where there are like one guy and two girls, and the girl standing next to the guy is the automation tools, and now the guy is looking for AI tools.
Yes.
And the same people who were running behind automation tools, I think now are running behind AI tools, and it
And
showcases that pretty aptly.
absolutely, and it really depicts that reality of our industry nowadays. Okay, and the final question for our rapid fire is first thing you can check in any application when you will start the testing of that application.
I checked that from top to bottom, any spelling mistakes or any sloppiness,
The,
non-functional, just anything that like really is not proper.
that's a very like specific, you can say, to the visual part, and you don't want to ruin that user experience when you can say real customer will be using that part. Okay, so let's talk about emerging trends which we as a tester should be aware of as we are starting a new year ahead, and things have changed a lot in 2024. AI has came and it truly like disrupt the things into the engineering, not specifically to the software testing but in overall engineering stuff. And when we compare AI, it is something like when industrialization came or when internet is born. And so I found AI that kind of invention. It is there from a long time, but now it is more accessible to normal users or someone from my family. The common people are now using the AI directly. Initially, it's used indirectly because even if we are using any application, it is there from that recommending system or something like that. But now people are using it directly. So, what are the trends you see which we need to focus on into the coming more years, and not only 2025?
Yeah. So a very specific trend that I see with people I work and in my work is that the manual scripting work, a lot of it is now moving to automated scripting or automated assisted scripting or AI assisted scripting using these AI tools. So, for a lot of base level work, most of the test scripting work is a base level scripting work in the context of automation and programming in general. If you have the idea about what you want to get done, and if you know how to leverage it, I think AI can really help you write and codes, assertion, regex, and a lot of things. And slowly, I think all of these, how do I set up Selenium or Playwright? All those problems are going to move towards AI. So, you have to start focusing on higher problems rather than just basic tutorials of how do you click on elements or how do you use JavaScript to click
Right,
on
right.
elements. I think for these things, even if you know the idea, AI can just write the code for you. That's a trend that will increase.
Absolutely. And one more thing, what I have recently discovered. So I've been into test drive meetup recently in December, and we attended a tech session from Ishan, and he showcased something about like quantum computing. So quantum computing, it is there, but it is not at that scale of like normal people are not using it. But probably in coming years, 2, 3, 4 years, quantum computing will be used in more places. And one potential risk is into the security terms. Because when we talk about nowadays, if something is, if you say like brute force or that kind of like trying those combinations of username, password, and those stuff, it took a lot of time when you do it like in automated way. But with the help of quantum computing, it will be in seconds.
Yes.
We can break anyone's password within a second by trying those combinations because we can compute it very faster. And security will be a domain where we will be needing more testing sites, or let's say more testers. It can be used on both sides. So someone who will be breaking the things will also use that quantum computing, and someone who is protecting it should need to be used that quantum computing part. So this is also something which will come after AI, maybe in 1 year or 2 years, because Google is already working on it, and they have created a chip which is more of a proof of concept nowadays, that Willow. But probably in coming years, quantum computing will be next thing which will cross that AI, you can say, stuff, and people will be talking more about that part.
Which means the work for testers is going to increase.
Exactly. So when people say that now AI has came and you will lose your jobs and all those stuff, so but I think it will increase our jobs.
Yeah, yeah,
Because how do you find out like whether the output it is producing and the result of that AI is
yeah, yeah.
have that quality or not, or is it accurate or not? So same thing from the you can say from that workshop we have discussed one thing. Amazon is using AI in their recruitment department, and they have find out that AI is recruiting more male candidates
Hmm.
because the data which that AI has trained have in the previous time from last you can say multiple years, males are tend to do more work and females are like more of a like homemakers. But the things have changed now. But that AI is trained on that data, so that AI have bias towards male candidates, and it is hiring more male candidates. So this is something like which a tester need to work on, like whether the data the AI is producing is of that quality or not, whether there are any biased or not. So something that will increase the demand of quality engineers. So I think like that's end of our discussion. Thanks, Rahul. Thanks for like taking that time into the weekends. Even like we just crossed the new year, so thank you for your time.
Thank you, Manish, and a happy new year to you and your wonderful audience. And please subscribe to Manish. Take Unfiltered with Manish. Please
Yeah,
subscribe.
yeah.